All right, now it's live. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell this real quick. The car that you saw a little bit ago in front of me was creep-tastic. In a large truck stop coming in through the truck-only entrance, he was bound and determined to sit there for an hour while trucks were coming around him and all this stuff, not even in a parking spot. And if I could show you the front entrance, or even you can get over to the front entrance from here, there was no reason for him to be there. So it was creep-tastic. So I had my fun with it. I got on CB radio and I asked a driver to come around this corner in a way that he would, when he comes to the corner, stop and just kind of be like, you know, you might not want to be there. And then he went around. The guy finally got the point. So I do want to mention a couple things real quick too. In a world full of people, and we're all just people, we're all struggling out here to make a living, and to get by and to help each other out. Everybody needs help every once in a while, and people help me and I help people. It's reciprocal. But you know, you also got to keep in mind, and anybody's got their own opinion of this, they can have their own opinion of this if they want, but there's real life angels, okay? You got angels that watch over you. And I'm going to tell you, you see that little car there? That's an angel. Some of my angels ride around in white cars too, right? So I'm just saying, but some people they've said, it's been said that don't drive faster than your angels can fly. I've seen that on bumper stickers and stuff. Well, a few nights ago, I actually had, I know for sure, some angels help me out and watch out for me. So my angels had to be taking care of me then. So whether you know, want to believe it or not, they're there. Some of us have more than others, and I believe I've got a whole department of them. I'm telling you, there's got to be a whole department of, look, it's my security department, my angel security department. So I appreciate them, you know, showing up when they need to. And I definitely, I had some help the other night, and that was good, because you just never know. And that, you know, that it has to be that every once in a while, you know, your angels got to check up on you, make sure you're all right, you know. So, but I'm sitting here chilling for a minute. I see I got a couple in the room. You didn't miss anything, people. I was just speaking off my mind a little bit. So if you're just now getting here, I just started, and you didn't miss anything. I just had to put a little something out there real quick. So anyways, we have had it with winter. We're kicking winter out, and you know, everybody, Congress is going to have a petition go around. All the truckers are going to sign it, and we're going to ban winter. No more winter. So no, it's still hitting up around, you know, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, all up to Green Bay, Wisconsin, all up to, you know, quite a few places. And it's going to be headed east. I'm hoping that is the last of it. So, you know, I can run where I got to go, and everybody else can too. It was so strong, the winds the other day, that it blew a train over. Now and we're talking 120 mile an hour winds, and they clocked some winds at, you know, 99 in some places that was sustained and stuff. This was a rough one. So I came down from Ohio, and I had some really strong winds that, again, were blowing me around a bit, but I was loaded this time, and it was still rough. So especially these light trailers, people don't realize, listen, I've got to look it up, people, because I'm not omniscient, I'm not all-knowing, and news is news for a reason. It's new, you know, it's new. So something new you may not be aware of. One is the fact that they've lightened up our trailers by putting super singles on here, on the trailers, right? If you're empty or lightweight, it's easier for wind to push you over than it used to be. And there's always been rollovers. But keep this in mind, if you're super single and you're empty, that's less traction on ice. And it's also, well, you're easier to be a rollover event. The wind will pick you up. But the new part, the new thing of all this, there is an area now that, because they have high winds, they have the right to put up a law at a certain time, and I've got to find that area. Please forgive me for not having this intel. I've got to find it. That they put out an ordinance that says no empty trucks at this time. We're running a no empty truck. How you know how Colorado, from I want to say it's September all the way till March, says that one stage is what it is of their chain laws in effect. They'll say chain laws in effect, which means you have to have enough chains to cover the drive tires, just the outside 4 drive tires on your tractor. California, you got to have trailer tires, okay, covered. But in Colorado, you have to have enough chains physically in your truck, or you get a ticket. And then you go buy those chains because you're shut down, and then they'll still write you the ticket. Well, that's to cover your 4 outside drive tires. Okay, so if you got duals, just the outside ones, so buy singles, because you'll be wasting money if you don't. Now on the super singles, all you got is 1, so you got to cover 4, right? It's an encompassing law that covers 4, so you're gonna have 4 wide chains for super singles. It doesn't mean you have to chain up. It means you have to physically have them in your truck. Okay, when their other chain law goes into effect, when there's actual ice on this mountain out there, past Denver, west of Denver, Commerce City, anything west of Commerce City into Denver, that mountain, if you don't chain up, and they have that chain law in effect, that part of that chain law, the extended part that says you have to chain up now, then if you get to the other side of that mountain, they will arrest you. They will put you in jail, and they'll put your trailer and truck in truck trailer jail. You know, they'll lock it up and you have to bail it out. So you'll go to jail. You might even wind up with prison time for it, for trying to, you know, cause an accident. They say it's dangerous to public, you know, by getting out there without being chained when they said you're supposed to chain up. So you better chain up. But this is a whole new thing for a different state, that they make it illegal to drive an 18-wheeler while you're empty. I've got to look it up. It's at a certain time. It would be when there's high winds. Okay? You need to know where you're going. Now, everybody's going to beat me up. Well, how come you told me this and didn't tell me where it's at? I'm bringing you news as it happens, as I find out about it, as soon as I can. And if somebody wants to chime in and say, hey, it's this state in this area, there may be several states and areas that have adopted this law. No empty tractor trailers. So how are you gonna deadhead from here to here? You can't while that's in effect. It may be from the hours of this and this, it might be for the whole day, whatever. They passed that law in a certain area, so if you know about it, put it up. If not, I'll find it. I'll put a link up on this video when I find it. I want you to watch my links. My links change and I add more to it. Okay, here we go. Kid put, it's Kansas and Nebraska. Kid, that's not the state I was thinking of. So if it's Kansas and Nebraska, that's cool. But I gotta be honest with you, this was somewhere up in, man, was it Minnesota or Wisconsin? Maybe it was Wisconsin. I'm not sure. So maybe several states had this. So there you go. You got to know when that's in effect. And when you pass these signs that say information on AM 1200 and whatever about fog or this or whatever in certain areas, they have signs up that'll say go to here, or put your CB radio on this channel and whatever, and there's an emergency message about a bridge. Guys without CB radios, you better get one, because there are places that will say, we put the info out there and you know, you should have had it. And some of that info is on CB radio. Believe it or not, states will say, you know, this bridge is forbidden for trucks for whatever, and they'll put it on like channel 19. It'll be a repeater message and they'll be keyed up and you'll hear it. It'll get stronger. It'll repeat itself. Then as you pass that area, it'll fade away. They're trying to get us intel. I'm going to ask point blank here, just put it out there as a broad spectrum message to every law enforcement officer. We need you guys on channel 19 with a CB radio. We're hollering at you all the time. We used to be able to get in touch with you. You was on channel 9. Forget about channel 9. Go to channel 19 and monitor what we're trying to say. Because you'll hear about stuff on the parking lot. You might be in the parking lot and you could get to it before anything else. But if you are a law enforcement officer or somebody that knows somebody, tell them to get on 19. All of them. Every city, local, they should make that a rule that they should put those in their cars. And some places do put a radio in their car, and they think they can turn it on and listen, but it doesn't have a microphone because it's some kind of law saying it's citizens band for CB. Man, we got non-citizens on the radio, so whatever. We want you on there. And you don't have to be keying up. You don't have to. And if you're on duty, you know, if they got some kind of rule, they need to bypass it and say for emergency use, you can use it, whatever. And we want you on there because it would be helpful to you. It'd be helpful to us to get drunk drivers off the roads, all kinds of stuff going on. So you're trying to limit us with cell phone usage. You got people, there's states now that are using 18-wheelers. Drivers beware here, know about this. The police officers are getting in an 18-wheeler and riding down the road because they're saying they're using the height difference to see if truckers are using their cell phones and if other drivers are using their cell phones, and then they're writing them tickets. So I don't know if they have lights on those trucks. I don't think so. I think they're just communicating with another officer and they have it on camera. But they're cammed up, but they don't have, you know, like the pre-pass and all this. They're not trying to haul freight. They're using tractors. I'll put a link up that article when I find it. But anyways, like I was saying, back to the radios, if you are an officer and you have a CB radio in your car, you're getting zero information if you don't have a microphone. Because the wire, the power, and everything, the sound, the receiving runs through the microphone. You have to get some kind of a cheap piece of junk mic and screw into it. Even if you're not going to key up, it has to be connected for you to get the signal that's being broadcast over that radio. It's 4 pins in that mic. If it was 2 pins, it would be just the mic. It's 4 pins. All of the sound and everything's transmitted through the microphone. Kid put, let's see, Kansas and Nebraska had that law for years now, meaning if you blew over while you're empty, your insurance don't have to cover it. Well, there you go. But they're saying now, though, that it's a certain time in this one state that in that area, maybe a local law, I'm not sure, but in that area, you are illegal to drive an empty. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you can't even drive it. So, I used to run from Denver over to Kansas to pick up because they had no freight in Denver, and we would deadhead back when the fuel was cheaper. And the wind from tornadoes, I've run through a couple of them. I got pictures of storm chasers back then that they didn't even want to run, and they were going slower, and we're passing them, you know, trying to get past it, because if you sit in it, you're going to get hit with all of it. So if you're at the front edge, you might as well get out of it. You have to time everything. You know, I listen to my weather band on my CB radio, and it tells the counties they're in. I look at the map, I see the counties, I'm like, okay, here's the tornado, here's the tornado. I go from there. But now the weather guy, and I made a comment to him, Mike Morales, he's got that 16-day forecast every Sunday. Y'all need to check out his channel, subscribe to it. I put links on his stuff and on the woman that does reports on the coronal hole in the sun and when it's going to come around and that kind of stuff. And because that's when GPS is going to be shot. And also some other weather links and stuff. I have filled up the last 2 videos with most of the links that you're going to want, other than the one on that ordinance for not driving empty, and for that other that I talked about. I need to find a link to those. So, but I'm just chilling, and I know that's a lot of information. We got to know everything, you know, but hope that was helpful, and didn't exactly have a big idea for the show, except it did blow over a train. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna tell people, look, those were high winds and it blew over a train. I want to say that was in Arizona or New Mexico. I'll have to look at that. I'll put the link up to that. And one other thing. Okay. Everybody understands hazmat puts you under the microscope, okay? Because it's more dangerous, and more people, if something happens and they know you're a hazmat, more people are going to pay attention to it. Hold on a second here. It is Wisconsin. I just looked it up. That's the one, Wisconsin. Okay, let's see. They're trying to pass it now that you must shut down if empty during high winds or high wind advisory is posted. Results in not doing this can result in large fines and suspension of your license. Well, no, if they're trying to pass it now, that's new for Wisconsin, but it was a neighboring, maybe it's a province in Wisconsin, like a city, but it was telling you that you cannot at this moment do it. So it could be, I think it was in Wisconsin, but I think it was like maybe a city ordinance, but I didn't want to say that, so I'll find it. But they're trying to pass one there now. The HP in Nevada will ride with commercial vehicles on I-80 from Fernley, Nevada to Reno. Okay, I think this was in something, I could be wrong, I think this was in something like Illinois. But Nevada from there to Reno, you know, that's them too. You know, I mean, they all take an idea and run with it. I'm pretty sure that the same thing with that state, I want to say it was, oh man, I want to say the state that had the scanning thing, that they came up with their own software and it cost them like $5 million, and any other state wants to use it has to pay them because they've got it like a patent on it. But if you walk into that scale house, they try to get you to make a phone call or try to get you to sit your phone down on the counter, and under the counter is a scanner that picks up whether you've used your mobile data while you were in transit, and then they will write you a ticket for using your cell phone while mobile. You got me? So that software, I want to say, is in Utah or Iowa, somewhere around in there. I'll have to find a link to that too. And then they're going to lease that out, I'm sure, to other states. Like I said, they're doing what they can to write money, and part of it, see, police officers, they go out and do their job. And then if they see someone speeding, that is something that's dangerous, and they write a ticket for it. A lot of this DOT mess is just, oh, well, technically you broke this law about not having a piece of paper showing your tag's good, so technically we're going to write you a ticket. That's not about safety, that's about revenue. That's about trying to stay relevant. So any DOT officer out there that's listening to this, you know it's true. And you know there's been some dirty people do some dirty stuff to truck drivers, put holes in their lines and that kind of stuff. I speak on the truth here. I'm not going to, you know, lie and sugarcoat it to cover up what y'all are doing. So keep this in mind. We appreciate the fact that some people are on the straight and narrow and they do their job and do right. We will put a light on it when they don't, though, and the truth is, some of this stuff, I mean, if you can stop a truck and write them a ticket for running empty, but the wind in that area wasn't that bad, you know, you got to look at some of this stuff. You know, some of it's pinching us for money. So, but anyways, but we appreciate what you do when you're doing good stuff. You know, there you go. I know there's a lot of people that, you know, they've had real bad experiences that have made them almost broke, and we are not rich. This is not an ATM. You don't see a place to slide a card in the side. Contrary to popular belief, where people come up and knock on our doors and want to ask us for money or whatever, this is not a bank. This ain't the First National Bank of me. This is a truck, and we're trying to make a living in it. You know, so stop thinking that we've got this money, and you know, the companies out there, you know, they might have some more money than we do, but as independents, we're you know, running on a margin. So if you want to hurt getting food on your shelves at Walmart, push on us too hard, because if it gets broke, we'll just split, and then you won't have nobody to haul the freight. If there is a trucker shortage, it'll be a trucker shortage. They push on us more, and then that leads into the shutdown. Being pushed on too much, there's a shutdown coming April 12th. You know, kid can tell you about it. I put videos up about it, and there you go. You know, so anyhow, back to this was what I was talking about the hazmat thing. You will be under the microscope more if you run hazmat. And because of that, if something happens while you're under a hazmat load, any kind of wreck, even if somebody hits your fender, all of a sudden there will be police officers and all kinds of, maybe a hazmat crew if needed or what. They usually try to say, is there a leak, but they want to check it out. I just had one pulled in right here last night. Blue lights behind it, all, they were checking it all out. I'll tell you, it's like this. The other day, I'm just gonna put it out there, and you can look it up. The other day, a flatbed was hauling missiles. I believe it to be a flatbed because the way it looked. Could have been a van, but it was missiles on the back of it. And this trucker with a truckload of missiles had an accident. Evidently, it was snowed up or what, and there was a bank of snow. It looked to him like one was an entrance, one was an exit, whatever he did. And it caused a big kind of kerfuffle, a big mess, a big stink there, because they were trying to determine whether those missiles were inert or whether there was a danger to any kind of public safety, and it shut down a road for quite a few hours until they could determine that it could even be touched or moved. And at that point, they probably had to have, like the bomb squad go out there and check it out and all this stuff. You got to be extra super careful with that kind of stuff, but I wanted to put it out there that happened. It is news. You could look it up, but I'll find a link to it. It's going to be tonight before I can mess with any more links, but I won't even touch any links right now on this one, but I'll put a bunch of links up to that. So this guy's just got missiles on the back of his truck and did something that was stupid, and then bam, So, usually after an event like that, all of a sudden the scale houses is, really hammering down on us too. So you want to be careful about what you do, period, because any kind of wreck, and then everybody's going through, man, it's like, I don't have time for y'all to check on my paperwork and all this mess. I got to get this load here, you know what I'm saying? So then we get held up because of somebody else's stupidity. And we already know. You already know. If you hear news at 5, there was an accident and this many people got, tied up in a wreck and an 18-wheeler was involved, at fault, whatever they say, doesn't matter. You see a truck, well, you already know scale's going to be making everybody pull everything out and show them all the paperwork and, check the IFTA and all that. We don't have time for that. So at the very least, do it for us. You know what I'm saying? Do your job right for us. So other than that, one other thing, this is about regular news. Evidently they've got a quarantine, and I just did actually a recording. I've got to go through it and stuff, but Texas Rattler let me know about this, okay? And I've got to go through and edit that, but I want to make just a little brief comment about it. He knows a lot about the economy and about what's going on and all this kind of stuff with the immigration and this stuff. I can't hardly tell him nothing's going on. He'll already know it. But he said that there was like 2,000 immigrants on our southern border that's being detained and quarantined. Quarantine means keeping them away from other people because there's a disease present. There's something serious enough for them to admit that it was a quarantine. There's something big. And I don't know, there has already been reported mumps. I don't believe that's it. You're not gonna make me believe it because they've let people through with mumps. I don't, we get shots from MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. Mumps is covered in that. However, a long time ago they used to treat it like chicken pox, and they used to actually say, hey, it's better for you to have it now than when you're older and it could kill you. So, but then they had the shot, came out with the shot. There's not a booster for that. I would imagine that they're, I like I said, I don't think it has nothing to do with mumps. I don't think it has anything even to do with the, it might have something to do with disease-resistant TB, but even that female doctor that went overseas and got it and came over here and they said she should stay quarantined and she's going all over her town like it ain't nothing. Even with that, TB, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's Ebola, or it would be so evident, because there's people coming from all countries to our southern border, and that's why we're building the fence, the wall. So, thank God Trump's got veto power, by the way, because he can fix that and make it where they can't stop his emergency act to pay for it and to build it, which either way the military can build it, but it's best to have private contractors do it and let our military do their job, or let them just kick back until it's time to do a job, you know, because that's not what they're supposed to be doing. Army Corps of Engineers goes in and plans and stuff like that and bulldozes and builds bridges and infrastructure, but putting up a wall, that's kind of something they should keep the same people doing it. It'll go up faster if they could give them more money and get it done in more sections. But they're kicking butt down there. It's making a big difference. But at the same time, you know, there's a quarantine. And it's because everybody from every country is trying to get in up there, or down there. So, who knows? There's a new mystery disease, they're calling it disease X or something or whatever, that he told me about. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he says there's something it's even in the United States now or something. I'm like, great. I don't know. We're gonna try to live through all this stuff, but it's like they used to say, the old saying was, they used to say pneumonia is a child's worst enemy and an old person's best friend. So, to explain that to people that may not understand it, it means basically it'll kill them both. But it's a child's worst enemy because it will kill a child. But an old person's best friend because they figure that's a way to take them out in the end. So that's what they used to say, you know. I think it was because they were saying it was better than starvation. I don't know. It's whatever reason people used to say it, but it's an old saying. Look it up. You know, and that's about pneumonia. There's worse colds than that. You know, but then there's these other diseases. So that's why we have a border. And that's why, you know, but now with airplane flight, it's, you know, a lot of things have happened and they're fighting it all the time. I did watch that movie 12 Monkeys a long time ago. I think that was the one that was talking about an outbreak and them trying to figure out where it came from. You know, it can happen that quick on an airplane. So, but the southern border could cause it too. And everybody wants to get into this country, so don't tell me this is not the greatest country on earth. If it wasn't, they wouldn't all be trying to get here for our freedoms that our, you know, people of this country have fought for years and years to keep. You know, they got to respect it where they're here, and they got to stop trying to turn it into whatever, a stand or some other place like they did France. And I think that we will eventually have no-go zones. I know they have them in Britain. I know they have them in France. It's areas that are controlled, and it's the kind of law where women have to cover the face and all that kind of stuff. Whether you believe in that or not, they're trying to push it. And if that's their agenda and what they're into, then they create it where there's no-go zones, and I guess the police won't even go in there. Maybe they won't go in there here. I don't know. But is that good or is that bad? Does that limit our freedom? Well, I hope they don't need anything from a truck driver if they say they can't go down that route, right? That's all I got to say about that. So they can mess with stuff if they want to, but then when it doesn't work their way, just like when all the women were out there in London, let them in, and they were, you know, wanting to allow illegals into their country, and then later there's all these killings and rapes and all that stuff in their country, and they said, you know, they started learning. You don't see them on TV now going, take them out, but that's, you know, you don't see them in the street saying let them in either. Not anymore. Not after what they did in, I want to say it was, gosh, I don't want to just name off countries and be wrong, but I want to say, was it Sweden? There was some places up there, there was some kind of a concert, and there was all kinds of stuff going on at all the concerts, you know. So look up Taharush Gamia if you think I'm lying. I'm not. A reporter even had a problem with that. The YouTube video's up on that event. I can put up a link to, you know, one of them. but it's called Taharushgamia. They call it the rape game. It's what they, you know, have in their culture of that area. I'm not going to say of that specific belief. I'm going to say it exists, it's real, and don't try to hide behind a book saying that it's not in there or this or that or whatever. It's culture. And so that culture calls that, you know. So they now have a problem in Germany with that. Shout out to Germany. I know I got people over there, and there's, hey, look, we see what's going on, you know, and it's kind of ruined their country, and it's kind of ruined France. Look in the streets of France. So you can, it's one of those things, and still got to put up a link to that guy making that rude joke about how, you know, a new foreigner came into Germany, and he's like, where's all the Germans at? And he kept asking everybody. He kept finding people from this country and that country, and the one guy looked at him and laughed and said, I don't know, maybe they're at work. Yeah, it's because they're getting a check for just chilling and having a place to stay in a car and all this, and all the Germans are working and trying to figure out how they're going to pay for it. So there's only so much money for only so many immigrants, period, and that's why they have a limit on them, and we want their best and brightest, you know, when they send them. We need doctors. We need, you know, people that would do the community good. Maybe good drivers, you know, not any bad ones. Not just throw them in a truck and expect them to, you know, not just, I would say, demean the American truck driver by saying anybody can do this job and putting those people in it. That's no good for nobody. And it winds up with a bunch of wrecks. So how about that? We're skilled work. So, newsflash to all the truck drivers out there. You're well respected and appreciated by your other fellow truckers, but you need to know also that guess what, not just anybody can do their job. They tried and they failed, putting people from, you know, just anywhere and saying, hey, we'll give them CDLs because those are dumb truckers, right? Yeah, well, that backfired on them pretty good. So that should let you know that when you stand up and say you're a truck driver, even they have to recognize that, oh, no, that's a skilled labor. You know, there's so much training in it too, when places train right. And there's a lot more to learn after you get your CDL. And that's why I started putting up, you know, some of the mechanical stuff that you can do, keep you from freezing to death on the side of a mountain. Other than that, keep cold weather wear. But I'm going to get off this thing here. If you want to say anything else, I'll give you a minute or two to do that. Just wanted to bring up, I couldn't believe they blew off a train off the track. That was crazy. And of course they're giving licenses and IDs to people in, to illegal, undocumented people, workers or not, sorry, in Wisconsin. So specifically, the undocumented illegals in Wisconsin can now go get a license, and they just had a flood of them in California. So California's following suit, and they had a line of them. I'm trying to figure out how it was at night and there was a bunch of people up there trying to get licenses or whatever. I don't know if they did it at night, but I'm trying to figure out how it was. What, were they not giving road tests? I don't know. I don't know what they do, but maybe it's just the learners, who knows, just to have an ID. Does that make them legal? No. You know, does it make them more dangerous? Yeah, because now they have a vehicle. You know, like I said before, if you have a wreck in a vehicle, even if it's in the parking lot and you run into somebody and they fall and hit their head, that's vehicular homicide. That's why you got to be careful. But in the same token, if a gun kills a person and a car kills a person and the result is the same, that you go to prison, and it's still a deadly weapon, cars are deadly weapons. Do I like the idea of giving somebody who's not vetted, undocumented, and unknown to our country a license to drive a vehicle and then rights to just go and buy one at a buy here, pay here, even if they plan on not paying for it and they want to go do something bad with it? No, I don't agree with that. And you're not going to make me agree with that. And you're not going to say it's right, true, or proper and expect me to just not say anything. So, California, you kind of suck for that. Wisconsin, you kind of suck for that. They're going to get on top of it, though, because there's good people in each of those states that eventually will start standing up and voting out some of these people doing this crazy stuff. It's going to take a takeover of their own state politically to make that happen. Yeah, did I say I was gonna kick back and not say anything? Because I was. Man, that just got me off into a tangent. Y'all see I do this, but I'm bringing it to you and I'm just telling you what the truth is. Beware, you may have somebody that's never drove a car, never drove anything but cattle or a donkey, okay? And, or, you know, goats. And they're gonna be in a car next to you in a city near you, because guess what? They can drive to the surrounding states as long as they have enough gas money to get there. And they got nothing but time to now go and ride all over our country and check out the sites like they used to do in the 50s when gas was cheap and people could afford stuff. So yeah, think about it for a second. You now have a bunch of tourists. It's gonna be riding around haphazardly, and they may not be the greatest drivers. So watch out for them to run into your side of your truck. Be aware they're there and they're licensed. That's how that goes. Kid, I hope you're doing good. We gotta get you to do a live at some point. You see I'm live now, I'm fixing to go off. You can do it anytime you want to though, like I said. And people watch it later, or they catch it later or what. But I would say, you know, get a few things to talk about, hit the live button and check in, let us know you're doing good, because well, you know, I gotta look out for the people that's gonna be watching out for my island, man. You're the Department of Acquisitions and whatever you call it. So hey man, I gotta take care of my cabinet. Yeah, so I'm gonna get off this thing. Go ahead and make a few comments here if you want, and then I'm gonna get down the road. Gotta make a living here, people. Looks like we've made it through the worst of this weather, except for a few people still. Let's see here. I am heading home out of Wisconsin. I got you. What is the weather like currently in Wisconsin? It should be at about 32 degrees or something like that, or maybe a little bit, maybe 34. Where you at? And do you have snow, and are the roads good? That's what I want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. We'll check in from Wisconsin. We'll see what the weather's like there. Kid's going to give us an update on the weather and the road conditions. So cold but not bad. I got you. Cold but not bad. Not bad means we can roll, people, and I'm fixing to. No snow so far. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, you got to stop and get one of those Baby Bell or Bay Bell, whatever, them little circle cheeses in the red. They got them in the red and in the blue, and that's the best cheese on the planet. There is one other cheese that's like a soft Havarti. It's good too, but they make some awesome cheese up there. It's windy. It is windy, he says. It is windy means if a trucker says it's windy, it's probably about, you know, 50 mile an hour, you know, winds, 40 to 50, you know. So fun times. Awesome cheese. Yeah, they got good cheese and they got those meats and stuff. That's why I was saying that governor needs to repeal that. He's messing with a state where we'd like to go and eat, you know, and have stuff. Hey, did you stop at one of those quick trips with a K? It's pretty bad. He says it's pretty bad on the wind. Yeah. Did you get to stop at a quick trip with the K? KWIKTRIP? Those truck stops, if you went in there, they got those steaks. Sometimes, you know, you can get a cooler and get some Ziploc bags and put them steaks in there, and not the ones wrapped in bacon, the expensive ones, but it's like $3.50. They're really, really thick steaks, size of a hockey puck. But but yeah, that's and the loaves of bread, I couldn't believe it. It was 49 cents a loaf at the one place. That was technically not a truck stop, but that's one. Let's see, fixing to go to another one. Yeah, go to that other one. Go to Quick Trip with a K, and when you go in there, you can order a pizza and they'll make it for you for like $10. The thing is though, and they got burgers in there, really good hamburgers. You gotta have a hamburger from there. They're already made. But if you look around the side there, there's a cooler that has those steaks in them. One of them's wrapped in bacon. They're a little more expensive, but the ones that aren't wrapped in bacon, they're like 2 inches thick. They're the size of a hockey puck or bigger, and there's 2 of them in a pack for like $3.50 or something. It's crazy cheap, but they put a limit. They say you can only buy like 10 or 5 because they're making them so cheap. You know, they want you to not just go in there and wipe them out, you know, so other people can have some. And the loaf of bread's way cheap. So it's unbelievable what they do for drivers. And they have, the crazy thing is they've got 6 different kinds of diesel fuel. You don't know which one to grab, and they don't know the difference and can't tell you the difference. It's really funny. You ask them inside, what's the difference between number 1 diesel, number 2 diesel, number 3 diesel, what you got going on here, you know, in this one and whatever. They don't know. It's not just the treatment, because I believe they treat all of them from freezing. So I think they change and mess with the octane levels, and they have the ability to get 3 different grades of diesel. Maybe one of them's like jet fuel. I just grabbed the standard that looks like everybody else has grabbed. That's how I get the diesel from there. But you won't know what to do when you hit the diesel pump, I promise you. Kid, take a look at the diesel pumps when you get in there. You'll be like, what? Like 5 or 6 different kinds of pumps. And then it's all diesel. You don't know what to do. You're like, what? So yeah, they get us sometimes. We have to train ourselves and find out what's going on. And I think you just have to get in touch with the manufacturer of that stuff, the refining company, you know. But I'm gonna get off this thing. Y'all stay safe in your travels. You can hit replay on this, and I'm gonna get down the road. It was good catching Kid on here. I'm glad you're good up there in Wisconsin. This is coming to you from a good part of Tennessee. How about that? And I'll be up in that area going back up. So, might be passing paths. So, Kid, will catch up with you later. Everybody else, y'all stay safe. Looks like we're going to get photobombed by Werner. All right. Y'all stay safe, and we'll get down the road. Check out that 16-day forecast at Mike Morales' place. Listen, truck drivers, you need to be on that. It shows a national map, a big map. He goes over everything, day by day. So, stay safe. I'm out of here. Peace.